is KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
All right, folks, what's good? Another episode, Ain't No Seats podcast, and we're here. The week has arrived. Kansas versus Kansas State. It's 6 p.m. It's prime time at the booth, and it's a football game that actually matters in this rivalry. We've been waiting for it for a while. B-turn. We want the win bad. Now, I will say, the vibes, I didn't expect them to be this low heading into this game, but with what just transpired this weekend against Texas Tech, Jason Bean's injury, I don't know where to stand on confidence in this game against K-State. We'll talk more about that here in a bit, but we got to talk Texas Tech. B-turn, I want to start with you because just prior to recording, I could tell this game's been just haunting you. It drives you to this day crazy. So I'm going to open it up. Give me your takeaway from that Texas Tech loss, and just let it fly.
Yeah, I always talk about like the difference between the mentality of the fan base between winning a tight one and losing a tight one. Like if we win that game, we're probably talking ourselves into being playing on Saturday and having a chance to beat K-State. Now we're kind of thinking maybe the worst, like Ballard's going to start and we have no chance to beat K-State. And this was kind of the year where you're like, we got to beat them because it's in Lawrence. Next year, you obviously got to go to Manhattan. And the implications aren't very high. Obviously, you want to beat them no matter what. But this takes Big 12 title out of the scenario. But you can still kind of get the 10-win season where you went out, you're at 9, and then you win the bowl game, you win 10. So still plenty to play for and bragging rights as always. We haven't beat them since 2008. But yeah, the Tech game just felt like we should have scored more than 13 points. You have the ball inside the 30, and you run a kind of a design run with Jason Bean, who had just gotten hurt. I still not sure why he came in the game. I don't know. And then you go 98 yards, you get it at the 1 yard line, don't score any points. And then kind of late in the game, you kick a field goal, touchdown, we probably win. Because Tech would have needed a touchdown to beat us. But yeah, my heart sank to the floor when that receiver caught that ball deep on the sideline. Like I thought OT for sure. I thought Brian Borland was great all game. The defense was really good, and Tech could have scored more points too. So they left some points out there, but man, it felt like you just score a touchdown on one of those drives or score more than 6 points, 3 points, whatever they did. They should have put this game away, but they didn't. But you can also look at it as the staff is so good that they competed in a game against a really talented team. Tech's better than people think. With a preferred walk-on freshman. So you can look at it that way also. Yeah.
AB, anything to add onto that before I do want to talk about just kind of the final 40 seconds of that game, but anything else to add in just the bigger picture when it comes to that game?
Yeah, I think I was a little more disappointed than, we were talking before. Obviously, when Cole Ballard comes in, not expecting that, and things can kind of go haywire. But even with that, the game just hurts, man. You go to the red zone 3 times, and we just talked about three trips to the red zone to get 6 points. Like, that's just not supposed to happen. And I know it's most of these stats are with Jalen and Jason Bean, but I feel like the last 2 years we've just been money in the red zone, and to see like they just couldn't figure it out. It's very frustrating. That loss hurt. It kind of took a lot of air out of the tires for me in terms of the season, which sucks because, again, you can look at it like you guys said, third-string quarterback, true freshman. What can you really expect? But it's also like you still had the game tied. You probably had a chance to win the game with under a minute to go, and you kind of let it slip away. And it was just the thing that made me the most upset, I would have just rather lost 16-3 or something. Like the fact that they came all the way back, and then it's just like,
that's exactly what I said walking out. Like if Cole Ballard comes in and we just can't get points and we struggle and we lose 13-6, it's like you're mad about the situation, which we are. You're mad that you're playing a third-string quarterback. It sucks. It sucks for Jalen. It sucks for Bean. It sucks for fans. It sucks for Kotelnicki. It sucks for Cole Ballard. But then to go away being not only mad about that situation, but also mad at the fact that Cole Ballard came in and did as much as, I mean, he's third string quarterback. Like, he's a freshman. You can't expect him to come in and put a bunch of points on the board. Now, do you wish we can find a way to get the ball in from the 1 yard line after going 98 yards, 2 yard line? Yes. But it just sucks to see him have that, he made some plays. He kept us in that game, and Neal obviously did what Devin Neal does. But, like, to leave that game being really upset that you think Bean might be out too, but also just to know that you still could have won the game was just brutal. And so the thing that has kept me up at night, and I tweeted about it after the game, but it's like, I think there's 45 seconds on the clock, and we are inside the 10-yard line. We're on the 7, I believe. And at this point, I don't know about you guys, but like, us losing the football game was not even a scenario in my mind. And with simple clock management, I don't think losing the football game in regulation should be possible at that point. But we called a timeout after first down, which I don't know. I'm going to give I guess, is the argument to calling that timeout that you really want to take time and figure out your next moves and make sure you call something good? I don't know.
But like, even if you're going to do that, why do it right away? Like, at least let 20 seconds run off the clock or something. Like, I honestly thought Tech called timeout. When the times I was like, oh, well, yeah.
We're all like, yeah, Tech's going to call a timeout. And then we see us doing it, and we were all just like, we called the timeout. Like, it was shocking.
And then they wouldn't have. Like, they wouldn't have called a timeout there. KU kind of go up to the line of scrimmage acting like they're hurrying, whatever, while the clock's ticking, getting shotgun, and then let some time come off. Like, Tech had no reason to call a timeout, especially with the freshman QB back there, make him kind of scramble around a little bit, see if he can come through. So, yeah, Tech, there's no way Tech would have called a timeout. But once we call it, and then the next play, we run another play, they're definitely going to call it because they're trying to get the ball back, and KU is looking like they might be kicking a field goal. I mean, you're at the 4-yard line. So Lance, he had no reason to call a timeout there because there's no reason to rush. Like, worst case, you're getting 3 there. And if you do get in the end zone, you want to get in as late as possible, or kick the field goal as late as possible. So it made no sense. I'll never understand it. And the running back pass on 3rd and goal from the 4, it looks really bad right now. I guess I kept wondering if they might do that. Honestly, I mean, they've been running the Wildcat for weeks. I knew it was coming at some point where Devin was going to throw it or something crazy was coming out of that Wildcat. They picked pretty bad time to do it. But yeah, there's no reason that, and like Brian said, and I was going to say that, is there's not one thought in my mind that KU can actually lose this game in regulation. It's either you're tying it or you're taking the lead to go up 4, and Tech's going to have to throw maybe a Hail Mary. Like, if we scored with 40 seconds right out of that timeout, Tech maybe gets to midfield, throws a Hail Mary. But the fact that they had plenty of time left, wasn't even sure if they were going to go try to get 3, really. I thought maybe go into overtime. You're going into the wind, and that bomb on the sideline just hurt. It's just 3 quick, easy plays, and go ahead.
I'm sorry. The more we talk about this, it's crazy that we allowed that to happen. I mean, you run that scenario 10 times. I bet we lose that game in regulation once. Because if you do call that timeout, you then, to me, we ran on 2nd, but you got to run it again on 3rd to force them to use another timeout, I feel like. And I know our point is we're trying to win the game. We're trying to win the game. We're trying to win the game. But, like, are we that sure that throwing the ball there is the best option? I mean, we have Devin. Like, are we sure you don't just give that ball to Devin Neal and hope he goes and makes play? I don't know. It's so easy to say in hindsight. The other thing is, if Devin Neal completes that pass to Jared Casey, we are sitting here praising Andy Kotelnicki. Like, it would have been the ballsiest, coolest play ever. But that's the risk we run when you run stuff like that.
Right when he threw it, I thought it was going to get picked. So at the point, I kind of felt relieved. It was was terrifying. Like AB said, we had that many trips into the red zone, and then the Bean at the 3-yard line, we took a shot deep, and then he ran it. So can't believe they only scored 13 points even with the freshman QB. And then we talked about it before the episode, how we would have felt going into OT. I would not have felt great, but the defense was unreal there in the second half. I mean, Taj Brooks went pretty nuts in the first quarter, had over 100 plus in the first half. And then they didn't do much at all. They stopped them every key point until that last final drive. So you start at the 25, you would expect KU at least gets 30 there. Maybe they punch one in. I mean, Devin broke one on like 2nd and 20 or 3rd and 20 for a touchdown. So you just never know with that backfield. But I got to take your chances in OT at that time, and Tech should not have had that many seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, it's brutal. And I don't really want to spend much more time talking about that game in particular. AB, any other thoughts on it?
I mean, I know we've mentioned the defense a couple times, but I was looking through the drive chart. Texas Tech did not have a single drive that resulted in more than 50 yards until that last drive, which kind of hurts. But I don't know. Again, that maybe the defense builds on that, because if we're going to beat K-State, it's probably going to have to lean on the defense a little bit.
Yep. All right. So let's talk home field, and then we're going to talk K-State. But yeah, home field apparel, folks, we talk about them every single week. We love them. They've got the best designs you can find out there. KU related. They've got Circus Font. They've got the Script Jayhawk. They've got football, Orange Bowl gear. Even if you're a K-State fan maybe listening to this episode, your guys' stuff that they make is absolutely phenomenal. Missouri's stuff that they make is phenomenal. Home field doesn't miss. They are more tuned in with what fans want than any other brand out there, and we love them. So go get a hoodie for this weekend. Go get it. They're one of their new bomber jackets. Wear that to the booth on Saturday. Weather's looking solid. But yeah, shout out homefieldapparel.com. Go give them a look. We appreciate their support. Quick break, and we'll be back to talk KU State.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network.
Okay, so AB, you said it. I said it. B-Turn said it. Vibes are not what we predicted them to be heading into this week. You know, heading in 8-2 with a healthy Bean is very different than heading in 7-3 with some uncertainty at quarterback. Now, good news came out today. Now it's Lance Leipold talking injuries, which is not the most reliable source at all. But he said he's optimistic about Jason Bean playing on Saturday. And I'll tell you, I will say, here's how my brain, my heart has gone since that game. You lose to Tech, you feel like the world's ending, and you feel like you're going to get stomped by K-State. The line comes out, it's K-State -8. You think Cole Ballard's starting, and it feels like this game has lost all of the interest. But I read the news that Bean, they're optimistic. Who knows how true that is, but I'm going to pretend it is. I'm sitting back here right here thinking, okay, we're still 7-3. We are still before this Texas Tech loss where we didn't have Bean for the entire second half, and we should have still won the game. We're still a freaking good football team with a lot of guys that are really talented playing their last game in the booth, and we're due. And I'm not saying we're going to win for sure, but I'm not willing to just act like this loss is going to turn us into a team that's going to get pumped by K-State on Saturday. I feel good about this game being competitive. I'm going to leave it there. B-Turn, I'll start with you. Where are you at mindset-wise? Or are you melting down? Or are you getting more positive as time goes by like me?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was melting down because we lost, and then you think JD's he's probably not playing the rest of the year, and then Bean getting through concussion protocol, whatever it is. I feel like that's tricky, and I don't know much about it, so I kind of just assumed Ballard would be in there. But I'm gonna go into this game expecting Bean to be the starter, especially just to get my hopes up and get me fired up for the matchup. I mean, why not? It's been 15 years since we beat him. Bean is a legend to me already. He's gotten us to bowl eligible 2 years in a row, and he could end a 15-year drought of beating them. And I think we can get their secondary a little bit, and our defense has improved throughout the season. So maybe we can slow their run game down, rushing attack down or whatever. So I just want to compete. That'd be awesome. It's been a little bit. I know Manhattan, there was that ugly game a couple of years ago where we broke that run late, had the hold, but that's about it as of late against them.
We had two game-winning touchdowns on back-to-back plays, and they both got called back. Disgusting.
People talk about the speed travel a whole lot. He talks about the hold that cost the Kansas football Jayhawks, and David Beatty deserved that game.
He did, Ryan. He did, but narratives and all.
Yeah, but okay, AB, this is like, to me, this is what Anthony Bax lives for. It's KU K-State football. You've tweeted things that, I mean, you've made ridiculous predictions for this game. You love it. But I'm going to be honest. Your vibes prior were killing me a little bit. Now, that was like 2 hours ago when we were discussing this. I don't know. How are you feeling about this game? Are we going to get Anthony Bax excited about KU potentially winning this game? It doesn't have to be right now, but by Friday, can we get you there?
I'm sure I'll get to a point this week where I talk myself into it, but I'm probably doing it more for my own mental health here, but I'm not going to try and talk myself into KU winning this game. I've said it a million times this year, a million times in years before. I'm not going to predict KU to win this game until I see it happen. And it just, I'm saying once I said they were going to win by 3 scores and they lost by 10 scores, that's when I said I'm done picking KU to win this game until I see it. Going into last week, I thought this was the year. I didn't say it out loud, but I was like, this is the one. They have to do it this year. Now it's like, again, question marks at quarterback. Slight chance Ballard plays, maybe a decent chance Ballard plays. I don't know. We'll find out. But it's just like, I don't know. All the air got sucked out with the way that loss went down Saturday, for me at least. And as the week goes on, I'll see tweets. I'll get fired up. I'll hate them as much as I normally do. Right now, I'm more like sad, and I'm almost seeing the future as we're going to look back at this year as a missed opportunity at a chance to A, beat K-State, but B, compete for a conference championship. Because if you look at the conference standings right now, I just noticed this 5 minutes ago. We went from having a chance to go play in Arlington if we win last week. Right now, we're bottom half of the Big 12. And that's like insane to say out loud after the season we've had or thought we were having.
We should be to me, we should be at least 5-2 in the league. Like, give me one of the Oklahoma State or Tech games. And AB talked about it before the year. I just want to see a full year of us being healthy. And we obviously didn't get that. But it's like Bean, you got to give him credit. He's been a stud. But there's no game that he's won that I feel like JD couldn't have. And I feel like if JD played against Oklahoma State and Texas Tech, I feel like we at least win one of those, right? Like, give me a full season of Jalen Daniels or even Bean at this point. Like, Bean would have won that game on Saturday. No question in my mind. So it's just tough, man. Like, we talked about that being healthy, and we thought before the year we could compete with all these teams in the league because we did it last year for the most part. But yeah, it's tough without QB play and not staying healthy. It's kind of frustrating.
Okay, so my God, this is depressing, boys. But explain to me.
What do you expect, Ryan? No. Tell me what you expect. Tell me what you expect.
Season, I agree. The depressing side of the season is absolutely sickening when you think about it, right? It's like, it's Joel Embiid back injury. It's Udoka wrist injury. We're always going to talk about what happens if Jalen Daniels does not get hurt. That's a fact. This sucks. This team was robbed of what could have been a special season. I'm in full agreement in that. But what I'm struggling to get to is how and by the way, let me say this. If Jason Bean plays, if Cole Ballard plays, all bets are off. We're going to lose by a lot. Okay, we're going to lose by double. That I'm just going to say that. No offense, Cole Ballard. That's going to happen. But to me, I'm not so sold that losing to Tech, in which we didn't have Bean for half the game, like, why? If prior to the Tech game, would you have been showing up here thinking that we can't win this K-State game?
No,
with Bean at quarterback?
Right, I guess, but like, Are we just going to assume Bean's 100% and ready to go to play a full 60 minutes of football and play with the same confidence he had going into it before he got hurt? Is he still going to feel good to tuck and run and not get smoked and hurt both the knee and the head? Like, who knows? Like, even if he does play, I'm not confident we're going to get the same Bean we got against Oklahoma or Iowa State or Oklahoma State even.
The
Parts of those games
Oklahoma was not good.
Right, but there were parts of those games where you're like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. I mean, I know he had those 2 bad picks, and maybe he should have even had a chance to go down and win the game in the last drive against Oklahoma, but he still went 75 yards against Oklahoma to win a game. Like,
I guess if you feel like even if we get Bean back that it's just not even going to be close to the same Bean, then yeah, you're probably right. But to me, I'm just looking at it from this team outside of this Tech game where it was 1, just really bad performance, but 2, a pretty fluky circumstance where you're down to a 3rd-string quarterback. This team outside of that has proved that they can compete with really freaking anybody, and certainly K-State. And AB, I know you agree, like, K-State has not beat anybody, and that's not to say that they need to, like, people can beat us without having beat other good teams, but, like, I don't know. I guess I just don't feel like if Bean is healthy, that what happened against Texas Tech is changing how I felt going into this game, which prior to Texas Tech game, I felt like this could be a game that comes down to a final possession in the 4th quarter. Like, I still feel good about that if Bean plays.
Yeah, I mean, if Bean starts at QB, I will feel confident about it being a competitive game. And our producer, Nick, I mean, he keeps saying that we can win with Ballard. And you got to think of it as the staff. If they know Ballard is starting, you have a week to prepare for him as the starter. You scheme up easy throws. I mean, the Texas game, that game almost just doesn't even count. I hate saying that, but you didn't even know your starting QB. You literally got hurt the morning of the game. So if they have a week of Ballard, who knows? I know it's going to be so tough, but maybe we can implement something to make easy runs, and maybe Devin Neal has a legacy game, or Highshaw does too. I don't know. Maybe we stack the box and stuff the run, and Will Howard plays like he played at Oklahoma State. He's a good quarterback. I think K-State's really good, but it's college football. Who knows? Some things, bounces can go our way. Maybe we deserve some bounces right now. After the 2 tough losses we've had. So, yeah, I just trust the coaching staff no matter what. I'm not saying if Ballard's starting, we're going to win, but I just don't. I don't know. You never know.
So, okay. Now, we got to spend a couple minutes on this, but, like, if Cole Ballard starts this game and we somehow do win, what does Twitter look like come Saturday night, Sunday morning? I think it would be. Would it be a top? I think it would be a top
1,
top 2, top 3 KU Twitter performance that you would ever see. It would be so funny to get all this time and Cole Ballard shows up and leads you to the win over K-State. AB, can you at least give me, I don't know, give me some reasons why we can go win this game? It can be about KU, it can be about K-State, but I know you've got thoughts.
We're due.
Thoughts.
We're due. That helps. Defense looked pretty good. So honestly though, I don't know that K-State's defense is that good, if we're being completely frank here, especially their secondary. Problem is we got to have someone that can exploit that. And hopefully that's in the game plan, obviously, at all. One thing I will say, I don't think it's out of the question, at least for the first half. Was Kotelnicki holding stuff back? Even with being in the game, it was like, run up the middle again. Oh, let's try it again. It was like, first and 10, run up the middle. 2nd and 9, run up the middle. And then it's 3rd and 8, and it's like, you could have fucking Pat Mahomes and you don't feel confident. Like, it was...
I will say this. I heard there were people around us being like, I think Kotelnicki's holding stuff back. For what? You got us just laid out. If we win that game, we have a shot to go to Arlington. What are you holding back? I pray to God that is not what was happening.
And I don't think it was.
But then there has to be an explanation, no?
I think it was more of like we're going to run with Neal and Highshaw, and then maybe that opened something up for the second. Like, I feel like it was all part of like a bigger scheme that then got thrown off because Bean got hurt. I don't know. But I don't know. It's not like Bill Self in November not running his best stuff. This was the time to run your stuff, I feel like. It was a 3-point spread. This wasn't a game that we were just going to walk over Texas Tech. So I don't think that I'm going to give Kotelnicki the benefit of the doubt and say that he wasn't doing that. But it was weird. It was first down run, second down run, pass. It was awful.
It was just like I haven't had – it was almost – this is going to sound harsh, but especially the first half, it was almost like watching the KU offense from a David Beatty era or Les Miles era. I guess – got pretty fun there with Dearman for a 3-game stretch, but like
Wes Kenny.
Yeah. But yeah, it was very frustrating because I mean, I don't know. You're not setting your guys up to succeed if it's third and long every time. And I felt like we had a lot of those, especially early on. Yeah, I don't really know what else to go for. I'm kind of peeking over. The Broncos are about to try and kick a game-winning field goal against Buffalo.
Wow. I think I'm going to win our pick'em this week if the Bills win. So that would be nice if you missed, but yeah, I don't know. The vibes are low, and I just you've tweeted about it, AB. K-State, they've blown out a lot of really mediocre and bad teams. They've looked wildly impressive in those games, but they lose to Missouri, who Missouri's kind of a wagon. But they lose to Texas, who was playing a backup quarterback who was not very good. And they lose to Oklahoma State just like we did, but they did it with their starting quarterback. So I don't know. I'm just like, I agree that this KUT is brutal that we just lost. It's an awful spot to be in, but I'm just not sold that K-State's going to show up and just be the far, far better team if we do find a way to get Bean healthy and ready for this game on Saturday. But
I mean, off the top of your head, or even just looking at their schedule, you can't really pick a best win for K-State. Like, I truly don't know what their best or most impressive win of the year is. They beat like Houston, TCU,
Baylor.
I guess Baylor. They beat Tech in Lubbock.
UCF.
That's solid. Yeah. They don't really have like a win that like blows you away. That's not taking anything away from them. That like you play. They've been good for a while now. They're well coached, but they don't have a crazy big win. The teams they've played that are really good, Mizzou and Texas, they've lost to. And once again, I'm not saying they're bad, but they haven't really been battle tested, or they haven't beat. What's going on in this Bills game? A Russian field goal unit on.
There's flags. They missed the field goal, but there's flags. We're distracted, boys. Oh, it's on Buffalo. You hate to see it. You really do hate it. He missed it. There, he's going to kick it again. He's going to be able to kick it again.
Yeah, so
people are going to be listening to this in 3 days.
They don't have a crazy good win, and it's Will Howard's a really good quarterback. So this game plan, I mean, it could be tough, but I feel like you have to stack the box against them with how good they are up front. Like, they're going to try to implement the run with DJ Giddens, Trayshawn Ward, and you got to just trust our secondary, which has been pretty solid lately. See if Will Howard can beat over the top. Phillip Brooks, Ben Sinnott, they're really good. They're really good at stopping the run, which is what we kind of want to implement. So it's a tough matchup, but you got to see if you got to stack the box and see if he can beat you. And if Bean plays, I feel fine. And I was going to ask you guys, like, when's the last time you guys were disappointed in the defense? Like, I really can't think.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State late, but Ollie Gordon was on a crazy tear. Texas, they gave up thousands of yards, but the defense, I feel like, has been really good.
Yeah, it has been. And I felt really bad for them Saturday because they kept us in that game for so long, and then to have it go out like that was awful. But I
was impressed by it, though. Like, if you think back to last year, for example, the two things I feel like that really shredded KU's defense was good running attacks and teams that play high tempo. and that's Tech to a T. Like, was it Brooks? Taj Brooks, is that his name? Like all week, all we heard about how good he was, and he was, especially in the first quarter, he got whatever he wanted. But the two things that really, really killed them last year didn't really seem to have much of an effect. They managed it really well Saturday. But
yeah, I mean, defense has been huge, and like that's the thing I just keep going back to is this team has been really freaking good this year. They're stacked with guys like Kenny Logan, Kobe Bryant, who struggled a little
not
bit
a great game,
but Kenny Logan, Kobe Bryant, Austin Booker, guys we've been talking about are having awesome seasons. And I just refuse. I think if there's a way to spin this, you get these guys are now refocused. Lance is on them. I mean, on their asses. Kotelnicki is going to come out and do the magic of, he's going to be in his bag, so to say. I think that's my spin, is like, did this game almost wake us up a little bit? And is there any way, probably not, but is there any way that the fact that, you're hearing about Cole Ballard, you're hearing about 8-point spread, 8-point favorites, is K-State kind of going from 3 weeks ago, K-State's like, we got to win this game. We cannot lose to KU. It's an actual possibility this year. To now, is there a chance they're kind of like, okay, we're fine. We're not losing to KU. And then boom, Jason Bean comes out healthy. We drop 20 points on you in the first half, 21. I don't know. I'm just trying to spin things positive, and I could see that happening. I think it's kind of like shifted from, had we beat Texas Tech, we would be on here being like, and Bean's healthy, we'd be like, we're going to win this game. We're better than them. We have better wins. We have better record. We're the better team. We lose the Tech game by, as we've mentioned, a insanely fluky finish, just poor game management, and a third-string quarterback playing. And now it's like we have no shot. I don't know. I'm not sold on it. I got a feeling that we are going to be in this game till the very end and could maybe win if Jason.
Yeah.
Disclaimer: if Jason Bean plays.
I'm going into it with like zero hope. Like, I'm not getting my hopes up or anything. I want to show up to the booth, be around the homies, good vibes, and hopefully they compete. Like, I'm not gonna tell myself winning this game because been too long. I get my hopes up. 2019 scarred me. Last year I thought we could go in and compete, and we'd muff the punt at the 5-yard line to start the game. So everything just went against us. So yeah, I'm not going to get my hopes up, but it wouldn't shock me if it's tight or we win. So I don't know if you guys agree with that. I'm just so tired of getting fired up about beating them, and then bad perform. Like, we always play bad in this game.
I'm not saying everyone needs to have their hopes up for a win. I just don't think it should be something where we've got our hopes down and we're like, we're going to get blown out. I think this team has proven more than that to think that's the case. But I don't know. That's where I'm at.
My heart wants me to pick KU, but like,
I'm not saying pick KU. I'm saying
my heart wants me to say KU can compete. I don't want to be the negative Nancy here. I don't know if this game's going to be close, and I'm horrified. But I'm sorry. Like, I've seen it too many times. I've seen it year after year after year after year after year.
Disregard years prior. Let's talk this season. These two teams.
The QB situation has to have that thought come through your head, I feel like.
Yeah. Disclaimer: if Jason Bean plays.
But I think that's why I'm struggling to even get excited about the possibility of Jason Bean playing and the game potentially being close. It's like we're like 3 levels away from even getting to the game at that point. Like, I don't know, dude. This game has scarred me for years and years and years, and there's nothing I want more than for KU football to finally beat K-State, and it would be an awesome year to do it, and the day it happens is going to be a top 5 day and KU sports Twitter like moments.
We should have got it.
But at the end of the day, like, I don't know.
I mean, how salty are we going to be, though? I feel like Saturday rolls around and it gets announced that Ballard's the starter like an hour before, like a couple hours before kick. Like, what's your mood going to be like? Like, is there any excitement for the game, or are you just like, yeah, we're losing again?
I think it, in a weird way, shifts to like almost like a fun, free feeling where it's like, whatever. I mean, you lose with Ballard, you lose, like, duh, you lose. Or you compete with Ballard, and it's the most fun football game you've ever watched up until the time you lose, or you find a way to win, and like we said, it's an all-time in Kansas football history. Kansas Twitter, KUK State, with the most insufferable, by the way, KUK State Twitter is the most insufferable rivalry Twitter I've ever seen. I just want to get that out there. It's awful on both sides. But yeah.
I want to kind of say this, and I could never imagine myself caring about a Kansas State athlete transferring or leaving a school or whatever's going on, or an injury, more than they do about Jalen Daniels. Like, it is literally insane, actively like searching his name and trying to get info if he's transferring so you can dunk on KU. Like, if Avery Johnson, for example, transfer from K-State, like, I wouldn't actively be on social media like, haha, you guys lost this talented QB, like all that. Like, first of all, like, JD leaving KU is like bad for the league. Like, you want talent in the league. I know it's a rivalry, but there's no way I would be this invested about a Kansas State athlete the way they're going about it with Jalen Daniels. I don't know if you guys agree, but it's like every day for like a couple weeks now, like them just wanting to be right about Jalen transferring from Kansas. And part of me feels really bad for Jalen right now, because there's a lot of people calling him certain things and thinking he's soft and thinking that he's quitting on the team when his family's flying in for the games. And the game he didn't even come down the hill for, he's back in the back room watching the game with his parents on TV. And I was talking to BMAC today, like, and he was like, if Jalen Daniels leaves, like, he's the best actor ever. Like, we've said it, the new era stuff, like, he loves KU, and the injury stuff isn't new for him. He got hurt last year. I'm not trying to say he's injury prone, but it's not like this hasn't happened before. And said it before, like, he's in a good spot to succeed here. You play against good teams, you play on national television. Sure, the NIL bag can maybe be big somewhere else, but to sit there and call like a 21-year-old kid like soft, or the P word, or whatever you want to call him, I think is crazy, because he's still there supporting the guys. I know he didn't travel to Ames, but it really legit sounds like his back has gotten worse. Back problems can be tricky, but I think it's tough for him, man. Like, he's getting called things that he shouldn't, and like, he could be here next year balling out for KU, and people will just regret some of the things they've said about him.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I don't think Jalen's going anywhere. I'll say that time and time again. Lance Leipold would not let a guy that he – and I hate that we're even discussing that it's like a possibility. There's nothing credible that leads to anyone saying Jalen Daniels is transferring, or it's even a possibility. Let's get that straight. There's nothing out there that's credible that says Jalen Daniels even considered transferring. He's hurt. It sucks for him, and it sucks even more that KU fans and K-State fans, which is wild, like you said, are accusing him of not being hurt and actually just wanting to transfer. He could have just left already. Like, I don't even know. It's just wild. It's all so wild, and it sucks for Jalen because, like you said, he's like the face of this rebuild. He's the face of the new era. He's the guy screaming it in the camera, and he's going to come back next year, and we're going to be a preseason top 25 team, and we're going to have an electric year because of how much BS we've had to put up with this year. We're going to be really good. And, yeah, that's all I want to say about Jalen. But it is so stupid, the stuff that's being said online about that dude. And I feel for him, but let's go beat K-State.
I mean, I have a lot to say about that thing, but I'm going to try and hold my tongue as much as I can.
Yeah.
But it's just like the hypocrisy from that fan base is just so insane. It's like they've been on Vern and Bry's asses so much for getting like minute things wrong. And they just ignore all these big things like that they get right. Like they get so much right and they're just like, oh, rumblings. Oh, who cares about one guy saying something? This isn't news. No one credible saying this. And then one of their paid beat reporters, not going to name names, paid beat reporters, the only person on earth to say that there are transfer rumblings out there is him. And they take it as gospel. And they're like, oh, well, he can't be wrong. No one else is saying it, but he's our guy. He's a K-State guy. He's our guy. I know, Nick. That's why I'm trying to stay calm. Not doing a very good job. But it's like, it just bothers me. Like, it's so annoying, just everything they do and everything they say. And I'm not saying KU doesn't have annoying fans. KU's up there for the most annoying fan base. I will absolutely say that
we
right
just
now.
roasted them talking in our basketball episode.
We suck probably just as much, and we see it with red and blue glasses on. They see it with purple glasses on. But like, there are just some things that they say, and some of the maybe I just see it more because KU people respond to it, but it feels like the trolls from K-State Twitter are 10-1 outnumbering KU in terms of like stupid jokes, dumb rumors, like starting up talking shit about things that have nothing to, like, fans should not care about. Stadium budget. Like, why is that an argument on Twitter, Kelly in Vegas? Like, it's every time I see a tweet about KU or K-State, it's a K-State bot account without a fucking, they're anonymous, and they're just starting up shit. It's just like, they're so insufferable. And that's why I'm like so sad about this episode, because genuinely, I don't know that we can win the game, but I want to beat them so bad. It's been so long coming that they just every year a thorn in the side that you can't get rid of. And I thought all year this was the year, and it's just like, in a way, and this, I'm trying to explain my feelings and why I'm being negative, I guess, but it's like, I don't know, man. I'm feeling low. There's so much emotion
out of you this whole episode. I love it. Just got to keep poking, and he'll come out.
I really can't imagine myself like living in a world where I care about another university outside of Kansas like they do about us. Like everything we do, like the Arterio stuff. I don't even like saying his name, but the Arterio stuff, they're just all day for months. Like they care about our athletes so much. They're all over the JD stuff all day for like months now. And they claim that the beat writer that you were talking about is just right. Like he's already right. Like this has happened. He signed his papers. He's gone. And kind of how like I sum up K-State fans is that they sit there all season and dog on me, Vern, and Bry for giving away free tickets to games. So they sat there for decades for making fun of Kansas fans for not going to the games. And now we're getting tickets to like to families and taking times out of like I'm sure you guys have done it too. Plenty of KU fans have. Like some people can't travel hours, and they got Saturdays where their kids are playing in games, or they had a high school game that Friday night, so they want their tickets to go to a KU fan. Like, what in the hell is wrong with that? K-State's assistant basketball coach just tonight said retweet if you have retweet this if you have tickets, and I'll reach out and get them to our fans. That's great. Get people in the crowd to cheer on for your team. I have no issues with K-State becoming a solid basketball program and the Octagon being full. Like, you make fun of us for our fans not coming to the games, and now that we're getting tickets to people, you sit there and joke, and the replies like, B-Turn, can you give me free tickets? Like, Vern, I need free tickets. Like, and then we pack the game out, fans leave early, whatever. You're still cracking jokes even after multiple sellouts last year and this year. Like, it's insufferable. I've said for a couple of years now, and you've agreed. Maybe like, it's just an annoying rivalry. It's not fun. They try to call us little brother, which is psycho. Like, if KU fans did that and they owned us in the all-time series, I would make fun of our fans and like their fan, like they really. And I'm not. I truly like Twitter is not fun because, like, especially during this time of year, because of K-State fans. Like, I just can't stand getting on. I feel like I have to tweet because we run this pod. We got to talk about KU, but they make it insufferable. And
here's some very simple advice. I don't get any of the type of like hate and stuff you get from K-State fans at all. But word of advice: if somebody doesn't put their picture and their name next to their Twitter and they're going by Emaw John, Emaw Mike, Manhattan Dave, just block them or mute them. Like, those people to me are just the biggest losers in the world to be talking like they talk, and they're hiding behind an anonymous account. It's crazy.
That's all their accounts.
I know, it's crazy.
There's like 5 that are like real faces.
Yeah, like, I bet there's like 5. There's probably one dude that runs like 5 of those.
100%
doing it all.
And I bet there's a KU fan that runs like 17 KU accounts.
Yeah,
like,
there's a lot of KU anonymous accounts. Put your face out there, people.
But I feel like the KU anonymous accounts are at least like fan accounts, right? Like, most of them are, but like, I don't know. I'm going off on a tangent here. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just fired up and kind of annoyed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. All right. Let's wrap it up. Big game coming up. I'm optimistic. I think we can compete. I think it's going to be fun. I think Jason Bean, if he plays, is going to put together an all-time performance. His last time in the booth, and I hope we have a fun episode.
Last game ever in the booth.
Yeah, we start tearing that joint down when the game's over. So,
Orton Potter Lake.
All right,
Rest in
boys.
peace to the undefeated season at home. God,
Enough.
they had it.
All right. We'll see you. Rock chalk.